Good morning, everybody. My name is Barbara Aaron True, and I'm here with Melissa Begley for our monthly Raising Awareness for the Poetry Initiative. And this month, we are raising awareness for the support of women or for mentoring other women. So we're going to read our poems, and then we're going to discuss. If people come on, of course, they will be welcome. But if there's just the two of us, I have a poem from my person who I'm mentoring now, and Melissa has a poem she has written, and I have a poem about mentoring, so we can fill up the time. So I'm going to let her start, as always. My beautiful and talented friend and person here, Melissa Begley.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. And I'm excited that Barbara and I are doing the topic on women that support each other or mentors. And I do have a poem that I am going to read that I wrote, and it's based upon a true story. And also, I have the privilege and pleasure of reading Mary Lynn Louise's poem today. Because she could not be with us, being a Sunday. That's her very busy day. She's very spiritual and very religious, so that consumes her Sunday. Unfortunately, we could not have it this Saturday. Our normal time is the last Saturday of each month. And Barbara and I have been doing this for probably almost a year, or getting close to a year. It might be a year in April, and we might have to do a celebration topic on that month, and about how important poetry initiatives are, because this was initiated and started because it's for topics that people do not like to discuss, even though the one that we have for this month is a topic that is very uplifting, and it's very important that that women do support each other and mentor each other. So I'm going to go ahead and read my poem. It's based upon a true story, and it is called Mentor. She was the applicant selected for the posted position. Upon providing her acceptance letter, it was refused. Do not accept. I am notifying HR, Human Resources, that you refuse to transfer into this position because of the salary that is being offered. Young and talented, with the fear and concern that the opportunity for advancement had just disappeared. She did receive a job offer approximately 1 week later, with almost a 20% salary increase. Her mentor facilitated the financial compensation to match her college education and work-related experience. The mentor supported all of her staff and was one of the few directors that was able to successfully fight bureaucracy. The mentor retired, and her replacement was a recent college graduate and much younger. The new director was not impressed that her employee had developed a flawless reputation coupled with honesty and integrity. Changes were on the horizon. The director observed her 2-hour training with new employees. She sat in the back row and took notes. No positive feedback, with pages of negative criticism. As she belittled her, the evaluations from the class participants were picked up and reviewed. Every participant rated her with a perfect or almost perfect presentation score and knowledge of the topics presented. The new director was not pleased. She never understood the disrespect and dislike, but it became distressing and she resigned. Prior to leaving, she provided her director with the tools, projects and professional development computer programs for all new employees. The director had no intention of throwing her a farewell party, even though she was well respected throughout the enterprise. Her colleague pushed the issue and a party took place. The director was displeased that multiple employees, directors, and supervisors and colleagues attended the party. The new director had even prevented another employee access to the new and improved PowerPoint presentation to present at a large conference. A new whipping boy was soon discovered. Thank you for letting me recite my point.
I actually had someone who was very similar to that director as my principal one year. We could discuss that later.
Are you talking about the director that was the mentor, or the
Yes.
director, the follow-up director that was not very supportive?
Pretty sad.
Yes, it is very sad, but it happens.
So I am going to read my poem. It is untitled, and maybe after I read it, you can give me a title, because I didn't have a title.
I mean, I have to use my brain this morning.
Maybe. But I am helping a new poet who is very talented. And so this is coming from there as a mentor. And it starts out like this. To help a young poet is to water a growing bud. You tend to it and you make sure it is safe, cutting away the weeds that might overtake it and making sure it has enough room to grow. Helping a young poet is fulfilling. Maybe you struggled as a fledgling poet and wish someone to have come along to show you the clear path to your thoughts. For poetry is being able to bring forth the thoughts from your brain that have been in there so long and make sense of them to other people who will read your words and understand these thoughts. When you help a young poet, you are creating a space for them to grow, like the young bud, and they blossom with words blooming from their pens. Sometimes, as with flowers, it only takes a little pruning here and there to bring out the true essence of their talent. And when that happens, the sheer joy felt by both of you is your payment. End poem.
I think that's great that a young individual is being mentored into the world of poetry. And it's a different world, and it's very exciting because I find it different than writing stories and those type of situations, because I think that comes from your imagination. But I truly believe that poetry comes from your heart, your soul, muses, and you just never know where you're going to derive that information from. That it's just not, it's just magical, it's mystical. And I think it's great that you're helping her develop your the fledgling poet.
A fledgling poet, yes.
Fledgling
What's
poet.
a fledgling poet? Not quite so young, but definitely came to poetry later in my life. Do you have a title for this, you think?
I don't know. I like fledgling poet, or maybe
Fledgling poet?
blossoming poet, or
Blossoming poet. I like that because there's a lot of
it's beauty.
poet flowers in it. Okay, great, thank you. So, okay, so let's go to you again.
Okay, let me find Mary Lynn's poem.
Read Mary Lynn's poem.
Sent it to me, and which I am honored to be able to do that for her. Put my eyes on. I spy. The title of Mary Lynn's poem is Watching You. I learned a lot of life lessons from watching you. So discreetly, you carried all of your burdens and saw your problems through. Your loving remarks were always so plenteous, and your reprimands were very few. Your hands were always busy finding ways to help us finish our goals successfully, too. Your steadfast guidelines for setting boundaries were a wonderful thing we needed to learn to do. Giving and getting respect, its values we were taught, was a thing that was so true. Solid and compassionate, loving and kind, you were a woman, selfless and divine in nature through and through. So many things, my dear mother, you taught us just simply by watching you. And it's with a grateful heart that I thank God for the mentoring mother he gave me when he gave me you.
Oh,
That sounds like Mary Lynn, doesn't it?
Mary Lynn. Oh, clap for Mary Lynn. So
Yes,
good.
that is an excellent poem. It almost brings tears to my eyes because it's so beautiful. You know, it's not sad, but it's just touching. It's a very heart-touching poem. And
Mary Lynn manages to pull the heartstrings
yes,
very well in rhyme, which is difficult because although I don't use it much, when I use it, I do tend to feel it's difficult to do rhyme for me. You know, I'm struggling all the time with rhyme, but when I write free verse, it comes out like water, you know. Yeah. So I have the pleasure. Deepa Preet Kaur cannot be here, but she is my mentee. I think that's what you call her. And this came about very accidentally. She contacted me and said, could I help her with a poem? And I started helping with her. And she's a wonderful student, and she allowed me to help her with her English. And because sometimes she tries to push the rhyme. And so because of that, sometimes things are not as smooth as they should be. So I help her with that. And so here is a poem that we decided that we would write on the same topic. So I wrote a poem about this topic, and then she wrote her poem afterward. So I'll read mine after hers. So here's hers. Life is a puzzle. Disbanded and scattered pieces of puzzle remind me of life's bustle. All the pieces can be seen through naked eyes, yet a feeling of something is missing resides. Every single piece is lying in front of my pupil. A hustle to pick the right filler is there still, just like the life's choices served to me on a platter, yet puzzled up in lifting the right fit from the scatter. Sorting scattered snippets into a stunning image engages endless repicks to reach to the final stage. Situations are snippets, and life is final art. A loop of step backs is a must to the completion of the craft. End poem.
you know, that's very deep and profound for somebody so young.
So young.
I mean, I think I have told her many times when I've commented on her poems that she has an old soul, and she's highly intelligent, but you know, there's so much that she is aware of and perceives in the world for such a young person.
I know, and I'm lucky enough to be editing her third book.
I know that's was she 17, 18?
17, I think, and just having her third book. Amazing, right? I only have one and a few anthologies here and there, but a 3-book thing is amazing. Anyway, so this is the poem that I wrote. Life is a puzzle. Now let's see if we can find it. Oh, right. I put it on her. I didn't even put it in her in my own files yet. So here we go. Life is a puzzle. Okay, here we go. Here's mine. Life is a puzzle. Life is a puzzle with too many pieces. When you think you have found the ones that fit together, they do not work and leave you searching for interlocking parts to fit correctly into your personal grid. All of us keep searching for the perfect match, the one whose design and shape meshes with ours seamlessly, who, like a puzzle piece which fits exactly, will add to the composition of our life's painting. A piece so necessary, if it is gone, there will be an upheaval, one which will destroy the terrain of your design, knocking the other ones out of their places, creating chaos as the whole structure falls apart. And that was the one I wrote. And then she wrote that one. And
When did you write your poem?
I wrote my poem. It was March 10th.
Oh, okay.
March 19th. No, 10th. No,
'Cause
19th.
I wrote my
March
poem.
19th.
I
Yeah.
wrote my poem yesterday because I know a lot of times we both are writing our poems the day before our poetry initiative. So I was just wondering.
Now, this one I wrote March 18th, sorry. And then she liked it. We were talking about writing a poem on the same
Theme.
topic. And she was worried that if you write a poem on the same topic, that it won't be there. She was looking for a topic to write about. And she said, I want to write something unique. And I gave her some topics, and she said, they're very, common. And I said, well, whatever poem you write will be your own, it doesn't matter the topic.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I said, let's write on the same topic and you'll see what I mean. And you can see that our poems are extremely different. Even though they are on the same topic, they are very, very different. And I wish that she could have read her poem, but but that's the way life is. We can't always have people doing that. So
Well, I'd like to read one more poem
good, sure.
by Calippo. I can never say his name. Calippo. Yes. I have not received permission for this session to read his poem, but I have received permission in the past to read this poem. So I'm going to go ahead and do this because it's the poem that he won when we had the women's contest in motivational strips. And it was unique that we all selected a man as the winner.
We were surprised that we did.
We were surprised because it was you, me, and Anne, and we all selected almost the same people and in identical order. So it was really kind of unique, and there was so many good poems. I mean, I think every poem that was presented entered into that contest was fantastic.
Melissa, could I stop you for a second? Because I just admitted Arunima.
Oh, great.
I'm so excited. I had Arunima on my show. Books and Entertainment Tales from the Pages. Were you able to listen to that show?
Hi.
Hello.
Wow,
Hello,
it's so great to connect
Arunima.
back with you too. Oh my God. Hi,
So
Melissa.
nice
Hi,
to
Barbara.
meet
Hey,
you.
how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Like even better now.
Oh yeah, I'm still
Yeah.
interested. I've got to purchase your book that you have just recently penned. I just think it's so exciting.
Please do read.
Yes, most definitely.
And we had such a wonderful discussion about your book, Arunima, on my show. And she was
Yeah.
so delightful to have on my show. And we had
It was
such
like
a
really
great
nice that day. Yeah.
talk. I wish you could have joined us, Melissa, because we were talking about revelations and spiritual things that people have had. And Arunima was talking about the idea of twin flames. And I just think that's so beautiful.
Okay, I'll be right
Yeah.
back. I've got fur baby problems.
Oh dear. Okay, so it's just me and Arunima. So do you
Yeah.
have a poem for us on the topic?
Right. I'll read one of these. Let me read a sad poem first and then a happy one.
Okay.
Yeah. This one. Okay. So this is like 2-3 years ago I had written it. Yeah. This the name is A Home That Is Nowhere. I'm homesick for a home. Am I audible properly? Or shall I put on the
Yes, you sound beautiful.
microphone?
Yes,
Okay,
Yes.
great. Yeah.
clear and concise.
I'm homesick for a home that was promised but not attained. Silently I shout, smiling I cry. Appearing wise and strong, I walk down the memory lane. Do it your way in your house after marriage, they had said. This is not your father's house, I heard after being wed. At my parents' house, I cleared the mess, and at the in laws, I became the dust, but never came by my home as my dreams had thrust. A wooden sofa covered with velvet, the lamp in the corner, opposite the exit, an oval mirror above the table with vases, exotic displays, all glasses. No, the dream was not just wood and glass and cushion. Contentment is immaterial, complete with only one person. Home was in his eyes a glance of belongingness, of partnering chores together and enjoying parental bliss, of chattering the night out, not yawning since the beginning, of thinking beyond flesh, listening, singing, and chilling. As a co traveler enjoying the ride with bumps, not as a master that gives the tired slave a thump. As illusory as a dream became my basic surmise of seeking companionship where servitude was in disguise. So here I remain muddled up in my mind of what is home and that if I should ever find. That's it.
Oh, beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Beautiful. Oh, and this
Thank
is
you.
what Melissa and I were talking about. The idea poetry comes from your heart. You could feel that.
It's
You could
true.
feel that sadness, that disappointment. That
Yeah.
so beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you have another? Because you have to catch up with us.
Yes.
Yeah. There's one more. I have it here. So this is the happy poem.
Good.
Yeah. And this is actually in that book of mine. I put this there. Yeah.
Tell everybody the title of your book again.
The name of the book is An Embarrassing Love Story.
Thank you.
Yeah. Till the sun shines bright and the moon sparkles in its borrowed light. Till water quenches thirst and air for breathing is must. Mother Earth nurtures lives and the sky shelters all the planetary tribes. I will wait for thee in rain under the shade, in the sun, or in pain. I have walked longer on the path full of thorns. I know the walk is arduous, how much one is torn. Don't lose yourself while you tread. Collect yourself, walk forward, and come to take us ahead.
Much better.
Yes, I like
You're
that.
from San.
A lot of cosmic nature
Yeah,
imagery. I like that.
Yes.
I love
So
nature.
So do you have another poem, Melissa? Or
I only have one that I was gonna read that, as I was stating, that Calipida, how do you say his name?
Calipida?
Calipida wrote and won for the poetry contest back in, I guess that would have been I guess that was in 2021 that he won the
Did we have
poetry
it in
contest that we
2021? Yeah, we did.
it
Yeah.
was in 2021 and he won the poetry contest that was for, the women's month of March. And as we know, March the 8th is National Women's Day. And that's one of the reasons we chose the topic of, supporting women and mentoring other women for this topic of this month, because it's still, kind of it still goes hand in hand with National Poetry Day of March the 8th. But his poem, his award-winning poem, stunningly beautiful, is titled Women Empowerment. God has created men and women. Woman is the wonderful creation of God. A man without woman and a woman without man is incomplete, but complementary. Mother, sister, wife, daughter are all women. Woman is born for love, beauty, charm, compassion, and mercy. She is the embodiment of love, beauty, and compassion. She has hopes and desires, mind, heart, and soul, emotions, and passions. In this society, women are not given due respect and honor. They are repressed and often harassed. Women empowerment and law should be enacted in respect of social equality, justice, power, and position. Sexual harassment of women is a daily occurrence. They are sometimes burnt down with inflammable materials. This is a heinous act and a great shame to the modern civilization. This heinous act should be redressed with rigorous punishment. In Indian mythology, the goddesses, the Kali, Durga, and Manasa are the powerful goddesses. Excuse me if I pronounce those incorrectly.
Sorry. Yeah.
A social consciousness and awakening should be roused. Social equality, position, power, representation, security, and education should be more emphasized, and laws should be enacted for their proper security and safety. They are not the puppets of time.
Wow.
So beautiful.
It is,
Very
I mean,
We
I just,
all just went, yes, this is the one.
yeah,
Thank
because I really feel like that women empowerment has to have the backing of males. And
Right.
because, basically men rule the world, and even in the USA, we're just now starting to have a strong representation in, our politics and as physicians and lawyers. And, we just need the men to respect women and support them. And we're not just
Yeah.
little, like he said, we're not puppets. We're just
Yeah.
not sexual objects. We're not to be abused. And so,
Yeah. And we all
Agree.
also need other women to support each other.
oh, absolutely.
Definitely,
Oh,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
definitely.
Yeah.
Women should come out to support each other whenever they can.
Exactly. Like last year when I was giving a speech in my school. It was on Women's Day. So right before the speech, one of the students, a female student, she herself said that, celebrating Women's Day is also kind of bias. So that is the reason I said I have to give a speech on Women's Day, and to enlighten the upcoming generation that no, it's not a bias. There's a history to it. We need to
Well,
be proud
yes.
about it.
I have to say, I have a good friend who wrote a comment on my poem about women.
Yeah, please.
And I know you might have seen the comment. He said that, why do we have to celebrate women? Because I am always celebrating my wife, and she is my treasure. And I said, that's wonderful. I said, that is wonderful that you feel this way. But women need a day. I said, men have 364 days when they are being celebrated.
Yes.
Women
That's true.
need one day.
Yeah,
Just
at
give
least
us one
give us
day.
one day.
They have Mother's Day, but that's a specific
Yeah, that's for
person.
you.
Yeah, but we have Father's Day also. We have
Right.
Men's Day also.
And they have
like,
men's, they have
celebrate.
Father's Day. But
Mm,
to celebrate the idea of women
yeah.
should be every day, because behind every man is a woman. Every
Yes.
man was born of woman. So they should be understanding that women are very important in this world.
True.
As women are the givers of life,
Exactly.
and they should, be placed on a pedestal. And we have to support each other. And without the support of each other, we will never receive the type of empowerment that we are deserved to have.
Absolutely. And I'm going to look for my poem
I,
about
I,
women.
I have one of the shops that I go to, there's a young lady that works there, and I engaged in a conversation with her. She's highly intelligent. She is attending the university, and she has aspirations to become a physician. And I was just talking to her because her whole arm is a sleeve, beautiful tattoos, which I don't have any tattoos, but I have no
Right.
issues against other people.
Right.
And I just said, that's very stunning. And she comes from a traditional family, upper middle class, with, mom and dad, and no, issues there. And she told me, she says, well, the reason I got my tattoo, and a lot of my other students and girlfriends that I have, is because that we have discovered that in the world of sex trafficking, that they are not wanting to select young ladies or girls that are marked, and they're considered damaged goods. So she says, you're going to see more of a trend of young people doing this. And I just thought, oh my gosh, it was very sad to me to think that that young girls are getting tattoos because they don't want to be, considered item to, be kidnapped and put into the sexual trafficking industry. And, it almost made me cry, to be honest with you, to think that we have come that far, that sexual trafficking is so prevalent anymore. Sorry to interrupt, but I just had to make that.
No, because I found the poem that
Oh,
caused him
good.
to say that. And it is called Women. Time to celebrate, and it was written on March 8th, on International Women's Day. Women. Time to celebrate women who are the core of the world's existence. We birth and nurture and tend to our young, and do it mostly with smiles and love. Many times our job is invisible, yet our presence is seen in the result. Without women, there would be no men, and without men, there would be no women. We are connected in a way still untapped. The world needs both men and women to function and run in the way it needs to for all people's needs to be met. It's a recipe not to be changed, for without the essence of a woman, the men in this world would not be who they are. Women are the driving force for peace. Left to themselves, men would keep fighting for that little bit of space. Women know how to deal with adversity, and they are so strong they will bend and not break when most men will topple from the weight. Women are powerful. We bring our power to everything we do. Our quiet force takes over when men dissolve into bickering. A woman can get things done. She doesn't care how long or how hard it is. Women have patience. That is why we can withstand some of the worst ever dealt to us and still rise up to become something special. And many are now leaders who have the strength to face the wrath of men who do not respect them. Women are loving and kind. Our kindness allows us to struggle with a difficult person and still get to the other side of an argument without blows, finding a way to help the other person see our side without creating a war. Women are the ones who are there when needed. We bring food and attention to those who might be sick or injured. Many times we need to feed our own family afterward, yet we do it with care and affection to help from our hearts. Their only payment is a smile we receive. Let's celebrate women on this special day, for women are truly the engines of the world.
Wow, lovely, actually.
Excellent.
And this is the one that he commented on. And I think in the idea of talking about women, there are so many facets to a woman that there is no way to truly know her until you probably lived with her, because women have this ability, and men too, but mostly women, have this ability to keep a lot of themselves from being there. Don't you agree, Jean? My dog just came in. But he agreed. He came in, came out, went out.
Yeah, you're right.
Right, but we should talk about some of these poems because a lot of these touched me a lot. Yours, Arunima, really touched me. The idea of wanting to have your own home and not being able to have it because your husband was so dominant.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, so actually, like, I don't speak about it publicly since it's on recording, but my life transformed when I made my own life. It was very difficult. No one agreed in my own family, but then I walked out with my kids, and life has been a blessing after that. They say that, God supports those people who can be by themselves. I literally saw that happening. And I was kind of in despair when I moved out. I literally had a near death experience, like, I was watching a dream and things like that. But when I made my choice clear to God that no, I'm going to be powerful, there was absolute support, and things started happening in the best possible way. And the level of happiness that I have right now, I don't think I was this happy even in my childhood. I can do what I want and, totally independent. My sons are, like growing up to be like really loving creatures. So I'm like very happy. That's what. Yeah.
Yeah, and I agree. When a woman takes control of her life, when it's going the wrong way, all credit to you, Arunima. There is a woman on Facebook. Her name is Summer Dickinson, and she takes care of women. She actually goes to the homes of women who are being abused, who can't get out, and she helps them to find a place to go.
Wow.
Yeah, and she ministers to them. She's I feel like she's almost a guardian angel. She's a
Yeah.
very strong woman who had abuse in her life. And Summer is, I don't know if she's a poet, but it's an example of a woman who takes care of women. And women have to take care of women because some people can't take care of themselves. You were strong. You were
absolutely.
able to fight your
Mhm.
family and society. and get out there, but there are women who weren't so strong and can't. They don't have the ability to move on. And I think if women band together, that they can help other women to find experiences that will make us grow and blossom, like, you know, like women should, and not be pushed down and dragged out, and you know, that
Yeah,
kind
we
of.
also, yeah, we also need the right examples in front of the upcoming females. Like they see that, okay, it's not like, you do have a choice of being independent. I think that's even more important, to give the right examples to the girls. That, you need
Right,
a
and
voice, you need
we
to
are
speak up.
talking about that mentoring. I'm mentoring a young poet. She asked me for help. I would never mentor somebody who didn't ask me for help, but she came to me and asked me for help, and because she did, I help her, and she accepts what I say
Wow.
so easily that it almost frightens me how easily, right, she accepts what I say. So
A lot of
you have to be very careful with young poets, young people, that what you say is not, gonna
Yeah.
be something that isn't going to help them. And so it's a burden and a blessing at the same time, you know. Do you,
Yeah.
Melissa, do you mentor anyone?
I've had a few people that have contacted me and that I have helped them on poems, but I've not really mentored anybody, but I have received a lot of um, people, international poets, that have asked me questions or asked me how to word something appropriately. And I've done that before. And I've done that for probably ever since I've entered the poetry world. And but I've never actually mentored anybody. But I guess in a way that's a form of mentoring. But what I was going to say about women, I was lucky because my mom and dad had a traditional marriage. You know, my dad financially supported, was very financially successful, and my mother was a stay-at-home mother. And he was very loyal to her, loyal to his family, very respectful to my mother. And I didn't really think about it until after being in the workplace. Some of the younger women, a generation behind me, were talking about that the only reason that they pursued I pursued my education just, it's just like, just because I wanted to, didn't really have any reason, just wanted to and had the opportunity. But they pursued their education because they wanted to make sure that they could financially support themselves and take care of themselves. Because I had met so many that by the time that their mother had reached the age of approximately 50 years, that they were being replaced with younger females. And I mean, I couldn't imagine, my dad doing that to my mother, and he never did. And I was really surprised at how commonplace that has become. That not that I have any issue with, an age gap between people, because I think in your book you talked about the age gap had a lot
Yeah.
to do with the flames, which I
Right.
believe that because my husband was 20 years older than me, and we were definitely twin flames. But I was really surprised at how disrespectful that these men could be to the woman that they married when they were young, treated so
Yeah.
well, and all of a sudden, because they're aging, and that they want to replace them with a younger, model of a female. And I was just really shocked, and I really think that's very sad. And I don't really, it's just really very sad.
Mhm.
Well, I think love is something that if you love someone, you don't care what they look like. You know,
Absolutely. I
you
agree.
might have fallen in love with them because of their looks, but it's how they treat you and your everyday life with them that counts. So,
Yeah.
so it doesn't matter how you look; it's how you treat someone and what your age is. I mean, I was only 2 years younger than my husband, so we didn't have that problem, but I always felt that he always told me that I was the most beautiful woman in the world, in the room wherever we were, and those things. So that always made me feel good because I knew I wasn't, but to him I always was.
Well, but you were to him, or he wouldn't have said that. And I
No,
know
he never would have. No, he was very
even with my husband, even with the aging process of the two of us and being together for 20 plus years, I felt just as attractive to him as I did when I was young and youthful. And I just never lost that feeling that he was attracted to me, and that he, I mean, the sexual aspect of it as well, and passion, that was never diminished whatsoever, because I had become an older female. And I think that is love. But then you got to take into consideration also, Barbara, that sometimes it's an image, and men want that um, um, younger female on their arm for their image. Not that they still don't love their first wife, but it's an image as well that they want to project to the
Oh,
world.
definitely. That men have been taught that in order to
Yeah.
feel successful, they need
Mm.
to have the trappings of success. And to them, the trappings of success is having this beautiful model like woman on their arm all the time, knowing that they have this makes them feel younger and more virile and, conquer the world kind of thing. And women don't need that. Women need attention, affection, and just love. You know, women need that every day to keep going. And when you don't get that from a man, it's very sad. And you know, even couples who love each other can have this situation where things like that happen. Anyway, um, there's something else that we should discuss about women, and that is how women are discriminated against in the workplace. And I think Melissa brought that up very well in her mentor poem. But do you think that would have happened to a man?
You mean where the new director would have been a male and female? Is that what you're
Yeah,
talking?
yeah.
I really don't know, because I think that there are so many women that they have to get over the fact of being threatened, or being jealous of other females. And I think a lot of times that the first person that I talked about, my actual mentor, she supported and encouraged people, and it did not threaten her or make her insecure that she hired people, males or females, that were more talented or in an area that she was not talented in, because she thought of the whole department and the big picture, and that you had to place talented people in each and every aspect of it to be able to be the very best department, the best place to work and support each other. But I think this other individual came in and was intimidated, not only by me or anybody else, but just intimidated of and insecure that perhaps they did not know enough about the inner workings of the department or the organization. So instead of trying to learn and support, they have a negative reaction because of their own insecurity or jealousy. And I don't know if men do that as much as women. And but I know it's very prevalent among women, and that's one thing that women have to get
Yeah.
over. And that's why the mentor of the poem, The Good Mentor, was held up on such a high pedestal. And I see that a lot with women. I mean, it's just like you're in the workplace, and I worked in a professional environment. I was a professional, And it's just like with women, it's just like, oh, I don't like her. She's heavy. Oh, I don't like her. She's too skinny. Oh, look at her. Her husband, he
Yeah.
doesn't even work. Her husband, oh, she thinks she's hot because her husband makes so much money. I mean, it's just like, really? All this is so insignificant. I don't like gossip. I don't like people like that. But I've seen that so much with women. I never did hear men in those type of conversations. And I usually gravitated and was closer to my male colleagues than the female colleagues. And that's just
Right, men don't talk like that about
no, and
themselves.
they don't talk about, oh, look at that man today. Look at the color of his suit. It doesn't go with his
Don't care.
eyes. I mean, it's just like women have to get over that. I mean, they really do. And I don't know. They're better. They're much better than they used to be. And but they still have a little tweaking to do.
Well, I think women, when they don't feel comfortable in a situation, instead of asking for help, some women just get very authoritarian and expect things. Like my daughter is working, she's a manager in this company, and a new manager came in, and she doesn't know about my daughter's place here. She doesn't know a lot about what she's talking about. So she came in as a manager of these people, and she listens to the wrong people.
Oh,
Okay.
geez. Yeah,
So
that's
instead of listening to my daughter, who has lots of experience and knows exactly what she's doing, she's listening to people who are messing up. And because they're messing up, she is not getting she's not getting the group together as it should. And so my daughter, who had a pretty good running group, is now having to face this, situation where people are not giving feedback to her, and people are not doing what she wants to do. And so it's because she has a woman manager. When she had a male manager, it all ran smoothly. But this woman, and I'm not saying all women managers are like that, but this one won't take advice. She just won't listen to anybody. So I think women have to be open to change. I think some women are very closed to change, as some men are, but I think on the whole, women are more close to change. You have to be open as a woman to change. And that's been my biggest problem, changing. I, as a woman, I have had to change many, many times what I thought, and be in situations where, working with people I was not very comfortable with, but still I had to work with them. So women have to learn to find the good in each other, I think.
Yeah.
yeah.
So
And a lot of that comes from self-reflection. You have to reflect upon your own weaknesses and use other women in the workplace to everybody can strengthen each other. And instead of having adversity in the workplace, you need to develop some just some common respect.
right, common respect, that's what should go on, but many times there is this very little bickering and things like that
Yeah.
that goes on with women that like you were saying. And I too was in the professional workplace. I was a teacher, and it's difficult. Teachers do band together, and women teachers do band together, but there are some teachers who did not want to change, and those people were the ones on the outside. They did not like change, whereas I, as a professional, embraced change. Oh, there's something new. to teach with?
Yeah.
Yes, show it to me.
Yeah. I've always been one to embrace change, so I don't have a problem.
Exactly. But some women just, nope, I've done this for years. I'm doing it this way. This is how
They
it
feel very
works.
comfortable. Yeah.
Right.
They feel very comfortable. They think that it's all right to repeat the thing over and over again.
Yes. And have the same mistakes. I mean,
Mistakes also, right?
yeah. I've mentored a lot of children. I mean, as a teacher, mentoring is what we
Yeah,
do.
absolutely.
And I found a lot of children who came through the grades who did
Exactly.
not have the skills they needed. And it's very sad as a tutor. I've seen children who did not get skills in kindergarten or first grade who they needed, and I had to go back and reteach that. And
Exactly.
it's because some people just do not want to accept change. They
That's
don't
true.
want to accept that they can't just teach something and that's it. It goes out over the children.
Yeah, I identify with that so much. In fact, like I've been bearing that because I was also teaching the most senior sections till last year. Eventually, I came to the middle school, but then I realized that some teachers just do an eye wash. Like these
Exactly,
female
it's an
teachers come like
eyewash.
finish off,
Exactly.
done, it's done. Then you have to go back to teach things like articles, and sometimes spellings are issues, where to capitalize, punctuation issues. I feel like, my God, imagine in the highest classes if I have to go back to something which was taught in the first grade. So yeah, and it's not just change, like doing your basic duty also. Like you're not even checking with the students whether they're understanding. It's kind of an incomplete work. That's not teaching unless the students have actually like learned something out of. Yeah. So there are some females who are actually like that. Not just change, they don't want to grow. That's the problem.
Yes,
Well,
And
exactly. Yeah,
and you're probably right. If you don't have the basic foundations, then how can you react to change other than not wanting to change? So
and
that's a
that,
good point.
yeah,
The basic foundations are your responsibility to do that for
yeah.
children or whatever profession you're in.
I mean,
Yeah,
I
when it comes
found
to
when children have reading problems, that the problem is not that they can't read. The problem is they don't have vocabulary to read with. For some
right.
reason, they just did not get that vocabulary. The teacher might have tried to teach it, but it just did not hit them. They did not find that 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 moment when they understood that this is what a word is. So you you have to go back and teach basic words, and it's if they don't get it, they don't read. So they're saying my child isn't reading. I'm saying to them, the parents, they have no vocabulary. They don't know what they're reading because they've never seen these words. So I always tell kids, when you find a word you don't know, just look it up. Look it up, find the meaning of it, write it down. And so some teachers just don't go back and reteach. That's the whole thing. And women have to realize that when you say something once, it's not always going to hit everybody in the same way.
That's true.
Even in the
Yeah.
workplace. You have to do it like intelligence isn't learning intelligence is in many different forms. Some people learn it by pictures, some people learn it by
Yeah.
words, some people learn it by hearing,
That's true.
some people learn it by
Experiential
doing.
learning. Yeah.
Right. Like so intellectual learning, that the way to learn. So I think women have to understand that even if you say that you want women to be part of the world, if you don't continually emphasize it in so many ways.
That's true. If we want to bring women to the forefront, there's a lot that needs to be changed in the way we are bringing up the girls as well.
Yes.
I
Because
think
there is
maybe
a difference.
I
There's a
think
difference
maybe
the
we
way we
need,
bring the boys.
I think maybe we need to think about the ways of learning to get people to understand about women, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe we need to be having ads about women somehow, you know?
Yeah.
But at the same time,
Complete awareness.
when you're raising your children, your boys and girls, and you want them to grow up to be, you know, responsible individuals and productive members of society, I've seen also with a lot of women younger than me that they've almost lost their feminine touch because they're trying to become so powerful and so you know, successful in the workplace that they've really lost their ways of being a mother or being a spouse or being a loving partner
Yeah.
because they're almost changing their personalities and I think that they almost feel like being a true female is a weakness. And I think that you have to have that balance, that you can't lose who you are as a female just so that you can, you know, become the CEO of the company or become a Congress person in the USA. You just have to have that balance. And I think that if you lose that quality, then the children are going to lose in the long run. It's just my
And
two
you'll
cents.
yourself not be very happy about it, right? Like, the femininity is not just, in gender. I think it's an energy also, like from which it's like,
Yes.
the essence through which you are feeling happy and, feeling like yourself, connecting with yourself. The next book that I'm writing is about, this only, like, even though I name it as divine feminine, but it is about femininity, like, the way we think that to survive in the world, because for some time I literally felt that pain, that am I losing touch with myself? Because when you step out into the world along with two kids, then you have to be unsafe. In the beginning you do face that. So in dealing with that, of course I kind of changed for a few months, I realized. And when I realized the change, then I did everything to bring it back, to feel at peace with myself. And fortunately it came back. A lot of meditation, many things were required, but I think I am at that peace now. Yeah.
And I agree with you. I believe that there is a feminine energy. And even with a lot of different types of trees, there's feminine energy or male energies. And it's part of cosmic nature as well. And I don't think that we should lose that energy just because we're trying to, you know,
Yeah.
to change society, because you can't change yourself. You can enhance yourself, but you can't change
Yeah.
yourself.
Well, I
It
don't
was.
know. I think you can change yourself. You can change how you are acting with the world. You may not be able to change what's inside of you
But that's
because
enhancing yourself, not
right,
changing.
right. Your genes
Mhm.
and all the experiences that you've had are giving
Mm.
you your
Yeah,
personality
change
and
the external
the way
you, right?
you live in the world. But you can change how you interact with the world. You can change your thoughts about what you're going to do. You can be more positive. You can try and move yourself forward in a way that is still in a feminine way. And I would have to say that, yes, it's very hard for some women to come into positions of power and not feel this masculine energy that they must compete with men. But I think some women do it very well. They manage to stay women, and yet
Yeah.
they have an ability to speak to men.
Yeah.
And I have seen that in the workplace before.
And I think those people are the ones that get ahead the most because they have kept themselves as women, yet they've shown that power
Yeah.
that as women they can get the job done.
And I think that's
Yeah.
enhanced yourself. You're not changing who you are, you're enhancing
Yeah.
yourself.
That's a feminine power.
You're having a broader viewpoint in life, but you're not changing who you are and your
Right.
inner soul, your inner being, and your feminine energy.
right.
And I
So
can't wait to read your next book. That is so, it's
me
such
too. I'm
an
like
interesting
excited.
topic. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
You got,
remember in the 70s, Betty Friedan, she wrote
yeah.
that book about women, and that changed our whole society, really. I think women started having women's awareness groups and things like that, but we were trying to break free at that point. But now we have broken free. Women are free now. Women are able to be themselves and do whatever they need to do. And yet there are still people who are held back by shackles of their own making, you know?
Yeah. And sometimes it's an economic issue. We talked
Right,
about,
of course.
women being abused, and how you were able to walk away from a marriage with your two sons and pursue your life and create a happy world for you and your family. A lot of times the women just don't have the economic background to do that. And even in the USA, or they've been demeaned so much that they no longer have the willpower or the ego to even try to improve their situation. And sometimes resources has a lot to do with that, whether it's financial resources or just resources of human
Yeah.
human resources.
Right. So how can we raise this awareness for the world to know about women? I know, Arunima, you are writing a book, okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I think, like, first of all, this discontentment has to go. Like, we need to understand, like, especially women, even today I was taking a meditation session with number of women, and the session was for absolutely like peanuts. Okay. And so many of them, like, said, we are going to come, we are going to come. And ultimately, like 25% of the women turned up. With these 25%, I think out of all those women, like, only 3 to 4 women were such who literally understood that they're doing it for themselves. Okay. The rest of them, like, when you mentor women, it's difficult. Like, even in other sessions, when I attended sessions of women empowerment and women leadership and stuff like that, I saw that there are many females who are still, they need to realize that what we are doing for growth is actually going to benefit us only. Like, even in the meditation, when I said, okay, go into this kind of visualization, they didn't like, the visualization was meant to make you cry. Many women will not want to visit that spot, right? I think the way out of the pain is the way through the pain. Okay. If you've had bad experiences in your life, you need to revisit, empty your cup, and then only can you refill it with growth mindset, with success, with contentment. So I realize that it's very difficult actually, but people need to start, and it has to be women only. And once we change, men will, as mothers, maybe, like, I have 2 sons, so like, I can mentor them in the way I want to respect women and things like that. So if women stay united, like, they understand, today the women I was mentoring, some of them were my ex-colleagues, the same colleagues who hated me terribly because students used to love me so much. So the classes which were out of control for others were in control for me. So they used to hate me. They used to say that she dresses up so much, because I used to wear a sari every day and wear lipstick and all, I was to dress up. So they used to say that it's only because of that. But again, I saw that these women are suffering in their own lives because they're not ready to connect with themselves. I was trying to do some inner child healing. So they just try to, like, to ignore, to avoid getting in touch with themselves.
Yeah,
Some yeah,
it's displaced
yeah,
feelings, that when you cannot recognize your own inadequacies, that I have to blame you. And it's
yeah,
because you're dressed pretty every day, that
yeah.
that's you're only doing that to manipulate your students. You're not actually being the very best teacher, because you're in the classroom and you are attentive to your students, and you're
Mhm.
mentoring them, you're training them to be better human beings and more educated. And I think it's just displaced feelings, and women have to get over that. They have to really
Yeah,
be reflective of what's going on. And yeah, I know I had a couple people that did not like me because they said that I was, brown nosing some of the physicians, and the reason
Okay.
why is because I was raised to be polite. So I would always say yes, sir, or no, sir, and always speak to them in a polite tone and respectful. And come to find out that they thought that was just a ploy for me to manipulate these individuals because
Ah,
physicians. And it's just like, no, it's not a ploy. That's how I was raised, and I still sometimes feel funny if I'm at a store and a 20-year-old helps me and I'll say, oh, thank you, sir. And they're so much younger than me, but that's just the way I am. So it's funny how, I'm just rambling, but I understand what you're
no,
saying.
I
Mhm.
understand.
Yeah.
If you show attention as a woman to a man, they think, oh, she's
Yeah.
out to get my job or something. It's very sad.
There's a lot of jealousy actually amongst women.
Yes,
There is
too much.
jealousy among women, and sometimes it's on the surface and sometimes it's hidden.
Yeah.
And you have to watch for that hidden jealousy because those people are the ones that might do something to you. No,
Like in the face, they're very good.
yeah, right. And I think as women, we have to understand what it is to be a woman. I mean, I feel now, I think all of us have no husband without men. We live lives without men, and it's a different life. It's totally different.
Mhm.
Like it's not a life that is easy because men make life safer. I hate to say that if your man isn't
Yeah,
abusing you, of course, but
of course. No, no, yeah. Like the ideal man
right.
does that. Makes it safer.
But when you're with a man, you feel safer
Yeah.
because then the world can't get to you. They're like your buffer between you and the world. And
Yeah.
when that's gone, then you're open to the world and you realize that they were there, they were that safety. And women have to understand that we can be safe without a man,
Yeah.
that we can be our own persons and safe without a man. But in this world, it's very difficult. I mean,
Yeah.
there's lots of scary things that happen to women without men.
Well, it is very
That's true.
difficult. Even when I take my vehicle to have it oil change or some small repairs, usually I have a male cousin go with me. And now I go to a place of business that is the owner of the shop is a friend of a male cousin of mine, because otherwise I would be taken advantage of because I absolutely know nothing about a motor vehicle other than how to put the key in and drive. And so I do think that there are some things that we're not aware of. And not to say that there's somebody's at my door. I'll be right back. Don't know who it is.
I'll
Anyway,
also have to get going at
we
9:30 actually.
we have a job, I think, as women who are enlightened about this situation,
Right.
to show other women and other men how we feel. And the
Right.
person that I spoke with in comments is a very dear friend of mine. We have never met, but we're very friendly, and we actually have written poems together, and he knows me, and uh, I was shocked to see that he
Yeah.
thought that way, you know, that women are not supposed to have a day, just one day. Give us one day
I
where
know.
you are talking about women only. And
It's hurtful to even think like that,
yeah, so when you speak to your sons, how do you show them to respect women, Arunima?
Yeah. First thing though, I believe that, like parenting has more to do with, like, you are also a teacher, so whom am I telling? Like, parenting has more to do with experiential learning. So I believe, first of all, they're watching me being that independent woman. But apart from that, like, through when we are watching movies together, so the content of the movie, and I am very open to them. Like, even if there are awkward questions that they need to ask, I always answer those questions. I don't let curiosity build a, home inside their brain and let them get wrong information. So they are kind of connected to other relatives as well, like including my ex-husband. So we are on a conversational touch in such a way, like my kids and I, we are such friendly people. So they do tell me everything. And even if in my family someone meets them and says things like boys don't cry, things like that, so I correct that relative right there. I do say, no, boys do cry. Boys are also human beings. So like every now and then, I don't particularly give them a lecture, but like, I show them things. I get them to read things like by female authors. There's one, Sudha Murthy, an author in India. She is very good. So I try to get them to realize that, there is power in both, in masculinity as well as femininity. And I'm trying my best that they don't go by what the media and all these things are, trying to create that bias, that toxic masculinity. I'm trying my best, and let's see, like,
Well, I've actually written a book about a girl, and
okay.
it's coming out hopefully the end of March, but it may come out in April because we have everything
Okay.
done. It's being republished. And the cover is the problem. Getting the cover done is the problem. It's called If I Could Be Like Jennifer Taylor. And it's about a girl.
I've seen that. I was looking for your book, so I found that. Yeah,
You found it, yeah, but
it's
that's
not on
the old one.
Kindle, na? It's not on Kindle.
No, no,
Uh-huh.
because they took it when my publisher went out of business. She
Okay.
took it off. So you can find a couple of used copies here and there, but it's going to be coming out from Kindle publishing.
Nice. I'll be.
Hopefully by April, I'll have a big opening. I'm going to try and have an opening launch Zoom, but if to acquaint everyone with this book. And it's about a girl who feels bad about her body, and she is both envying and hating this girl, Jennifer Taylor, who is a gymnast and has a perfect body and is trying to be an Olympic gymnast, and has a boyfriend who is a quarterback for the football team. And also this perfect girl, has a problem. And Carolyn, the heroine, finds out about the problem. And after she's been bullied by this other girl for years about her own situation, and finally they become friendly, and she realizes this girl's problem, and she is the only one who Jennifer will tell her problem to. And so
Okay.
she has to carry this secret with her. So it's about secrets and popular girls and what happens when you have a secret. And, did she want to be bullied again? Did she want to keep the secret? And so it goes on like that for part of the book. And then she winds up helping the girl. I won't tell you the end, but I always cry.
Yeah, very excited
But
to read.
Well,
I hope you do. I hope you do, because it's about women empowerment, and it's
Yeah.
from a series called the Mill Valley High Five, which is about
Okay.
this group of girls who are who get together because of situations with boys mostly, and also about the way they were treated, and they get together and they form this group called the Mill Valley High Five, and they take care of each other. So it's girls taking care of girls. So in the next two books, in the first book, second book, it's Jennifer's story, and then in the last book, it's everyone's story about how they take care of each other. And I don't think I've ever read a book about women taking care of women, girls taking care of girls. So I'm hoping that, I can get those 2 chapters out. But I think boys reading, some boys have read this, men have read it and liked it. I mean,
Wow.
even my own husband, he loved it. He said, wow, I didn't know you could write like that. And he said, he really enjoyed it. And I think if boys read more books with girls, that they will. And a boy said he was really happy to read it because it gave him a chance to see what girls were like, because they don't get to know what a
That's
girl
true.
is really like. They only have these glimpses of girls, what they're like, but they don't really know what a girl is like
Right.
unless they've grown up with a sister. And even
Yeah.
then, they really don't know. So it's quite, that's my book.
Well,
Very
you
nice.
mentioned male toxicity, and I have an issue with society blaming all men for being toxic males. And I know they do a lot with the military, and I was married to a military officer, and I was around military people all my life. And my dad worked for the Department of Defense, and I did not meet, toxic males. And then I hear so many people talk about professional ball players and that they're all toxic, because you might hear 1 or 2, news media stories about one that was inappropriate to a female. And so then they blame all,
All of
footballers,
them.
or,
Right.
and I think that we're going to have to quit male bashing. We are here on earth with males, and not only do
Right.
we have to support each other, but we cannot blame men for our own,
Mm.
you know, uh, we cannot blame male for our problems either. I mean, we have to strengthen those relationships. And anytime that you are negatively portraying somebody, whether it's of the same sex or a different sex, different race, different culture, then I don't think that you're going to resolve any issues whatsoever. You're only going to create that
Yeah.
issue. And I
More
like what you
problems.
were talking about earlier about pain, that you have to resolve pain. And sometimes you have to experience pain to resolve pain. And I know you're a very spiritual person, and you know that every life that you go through, that you will still keep encountering the same pain until you actually resolve it.
Go
So
through it. Right.
all your past
Exactly.
lives and your future lives will encounter the same, pain type of situation until it's resolved. And that's very important that you do that in meditation, and that you're trying to train these women to, you've got to resolve this pain, you've got to face this pain, or else you're just not going to evolve. You're not going to become to that enlightened stage until you can do that.
I know.
Yeah.
And pain, that's why when my husband passed away, that's why I wrote, because I had so much pain and that there was nowhere for it to go. And I could talk about it, but it still did not get out of me. And when I wrote, that's when the pain would disappear, or however long I wrote, and I would feel better after I wrote. It was like my tears went into the poetry. And uh, Melissa can say how sad those poems are, because she has my book. But
Yeah, and I think I found it interesting that, Barbara wrote her book, her own healing, and that she was surprised that I and some other people have read her book because it's helped our healing as well. And I don't think that was ever her intention, was to reach out to be the person that people are reaching out to for their process of grieving, because grief is different. I mean, everybody grieves differently. I think Barbara and I pretty much have the same type of grief that we have gone through with our husbands, which is unusual because everybody's grief is different. But, I don't think that was ever her intention, and she did not know that that book would be held up to that type of standard of healing for other individuals. And that's what I think is fascinating, that she did not know that. And
Yeah, I'm just going
but
to show you
Where
the
is that book? I really want to read it.
It's
Which one is this?
it's Hal. What was the name? Life with Hal. My Life with Hal. Yeah,
Here
there.
it is.
Okay, yeah. This I have put, but it's showing like 24th April, it will come to me. Oh,
Yeah, that
yeah.
was
This one I, yeah.
Yeah, that's the book. And I have to say that if you read it, the last poem, I would say the last part is the saddest. The last poems are very sad, but when I wrote them, I was deeply, deeply sad, and I just could not see a life without my husband, and it's sad because we were married almost 49 years. And we were like twin flames. I mean, at first, when I met him, he was arrogant and annoying, I thought. And then he charmed me. Then he just charmed me. And, and then we wrote to each other for 3 years. And then he came out of the army, and that was it. That was it. We were inseparable from that first night that we got together after having been apart for 3 years. Yeah. And that was, then I knew somehow that we were destined to be together. And not everyone can have that, that feeling. Melissa had it, I had it. And in your book, the people in your book have it, that the person that you're in front of really sees you and knows you, and
Yeah.
is not using you for some kind of ill-gotten gain. I feel sometimes that men can pretend a lot,
Yeah.
but for sure when you look into the eyes of somebody if they're telling the truth or not. And so I look into the eyes of everyone here, and I see that it's probably unless we have something else to say, we have gone through this topic. And so happy to have you with us, Arunima.
I'm so happy to be here. I really wanted to, this made me think we should all write books and put them on Kindle. Right now this says 24th April. I feel so sad. Had it been on Kindle, I would have read right away.
Yeah,
It's really great to be here. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Oh, you're welcome. And like I said, you have I sent it to Masemi, but she must be busy. And I know that your publication, Griffin Publications, they do a beautiful job of publishing, but my book, I tried a couple of publishers, they wouldn't republish. It's hard republishing something, they don't want to republish. But Kindle, they said, sure, we'll do it. So give us money. So for money, you can have anything done, but I really think that yes, Melissa, you should definitely get your book out.
I definitely should. I just need to be a little bit more not such a procrastinator. And then, after losing my husband, I really didn't have a desire to do a whole lot of anything that was of any significance other than I did write my poems and did write poetry. And but I'm just now getting into a situation that I think that I can probably manage being more productive. And it's taken me a while to get to this point.
And you're going to write a novel, right?
I don't know. I went to a workshop regarding a novel. I was just interested in it, and I don't know if I will or not, but I think that it could be, that you could write a novel
Well, I'll just tell you about
with poetry with each chapter
yeah.
to write your book. And so it was just something of interest. And then I'll be going to another workshop in September, and writing workshop, and it was a way for me to connect and network with with authors in Kentucky, and with a publishing company. So
Oh, you got connected to a publishing company?
yeah, that's who held the
Oh, yeah,
workshop.
and they said that they would publish your book?
Oh, they didn't say that they would publish my book. I guess it would have to be based upon if they thought that it was worthy to publish. But
Are they a traditional publisher or a hybrid or a self-publishing?
I guess they're a traditional publisher. They've been in business for a long time, and I had never heard of them before. And so, yeah, the lady that was there is a publisher, and she's going to retire in about 5 or 6 years, and then she's going to concentrate more on being able to read the books that are present. She says she gets like 10 books a day, 10
Wow.
manuscripts a day of books to be published. So I don't know. It's just networking, and I don't know if she'd publish my book or if I'd have to go elsewhere.
What is the name of the publisher?
Oh, I'd have to look it up real quick.
Oh, you don't remember it? Okay. Well, anyway, I was just going to say for our viewers, if they wanted to get in touch, but yeah, the best way to get your work out, your word out, is to publish, to get on. I have a radio show that Arunima was just so, it's such a
Lovely.
great time with Arunima and my friend Lee. I wish you could have called in, Melissa.
I don't know what I was doing, but
You were busy.
I was doing something.
But I hope you listened to it.
Oh, I can always do that.
Yeah, you can listen to it. I sent you the link. But having your word come out like on a show on Zoom, so that people can hear you and see you and understand about what it is like to be a woman. Women are fascinating. There are so many different kinds of women in so many different settings, and I think we should all, if we're in a position where we feel comfortable, if a young person asked us to mentor them, that we should do that. We should help young people to learn what we know. We should give our, information to them. Did you find it?
Yeah, it's Martin Sisters Publishing.
Martin
Sisters.
Sisters Publishing. And it was an Appalachian Writers Conference is what I attended, because a lot of the people are from Eastern Kentucky, and there was one gentleman that had already published 7 books. So most of the people there were writers or journalists. And so since that was never my profession to become a writer, it's I'm an outlier. So
no, I think a lot of people come to writing without wanting to, without knowing they would. I never thought I would be a writer, although I wrote a lot as a child. I had journals and things like that. A diary. I never thought that I would be a writer. When I went to the library and I saw those books, I thought, oh my God, all those books, how did they write them? And then when I did actually write my books, I was like floored that I could do it. And then I would like to say that you should wait till November and do National Novel Writers Month. Are you aware of that month?
No, I did not realize that. So that's interesting.
Called
But I don't know if I'm gonna-
NaNoWriMo.
but I don't know if I'm going to write a novel or if I'm going to write a book.
No, you don't have to. What you have to do in NaNoWriMo
Yeah.
is you write about 1,500 to 2,000 words a day, which means not that much. And then
Yeah.
it comes together and you have 150,000 words at the end of November. Are you familiar with NaNoWriMo?
No, I was just thinking that I was calculating 60,000 words. Yeah, that would be much easy if you write just 2,000 words a day.
Yes.
Well, the
For me, it
publisher,
is. I mean, I could do it.
Yeah.
well, the workshop I attended, the lady's a publisher, plus she's also an author. And she recommended that all of us set aside 4 hours a week to do nothing but writing. She said either 4 hours in one day or write an hour every day. And so I thought that's good advice because you can burn yourself out as well.
Oh, yeah, you should not write more than 4 hours. I don't think I've ever written, well, no. Well, NaNoWriMo, when I was trying to write my my book, I've written 2 novels there. One I started and then finished, and then the other one I started and finished there. But you have to, revise a lot afterward because you want to get 150,000 words. And then if you get 150,000 words, then they give you a badge. And it's exciting. You can say, I got, I won NaNoWriMo and, that whole thing. And I think it gives you empowerment that you can write. And people just load their work into the thing, your files in there. And so it's there and they can count it for you. They count it for you to make sure you have the right amount of words. And then they don't actually do anything with it. So at the end, you have a full manuscript, but it's not revised. It could be anything. It could have a run-on sentence that's 150,000 words. It doesn't matter. As long as you have your 1,500 to 2,000 words a day, you can do it.
Well, I think it'd be easier for me to set aside and do the 4 hours in one setting than an hour a day. And I know that's what she recommended, one or the other, because I tend to be a person that procrastinates and I don't really have a lot of self-discipline when it comes to a lot of different types of my life. So,
Well, I found that if I have the right idea, just the first sentence, that everything else will just breeze on.
and I
Just
think that's
goes
true
through.
too.
Yeah.
I think if you have that one sentence, you can do almost anything.
Yeah. It's just like you get that one sentence and you think, oh, wow, this is it. And then you start writing and it just comes.
It just flows. Yeah.
It just comes and you say, oh my goodness, I've written 2,000 words. How did that happen? And that happens to me a lot. When I was writing my last book and I thought, oh, I'll never get finished. I'll never get finished. And then I did get finished. And it's the same thing with women. You have to push yourself to go. And Melissa, how great that you're going to start writing a novel. I hope it really is.
Like I said, either poetry book or a novel, I haven't decided. It was just an interesting workshop to go to, and there's more writing workshops that I'm going to be attending. A big one in September. It's a 2-day conference, so
What's it called?
I don't remember the name of it.
Oh, okay.
They told us and I didn't write it down.
I know a lot of conferences. But anyway, I'm gonna just say this has been
Send us to an email.
yeah, this is wonderful. So let's all say one thing before we go, and we can end it early, unless you have something else you want to say. I think we've gone through this entire subject really well. And I just want to thank all of you for being here. And we will be meeting in April, the last Saturday in April. And April is Home a Day. And I just want to tell us all here that Melissa and I are going to run a contest with Lillian Wu, who is not here.
Okay.
And we are going to write it. It's for poets on motivational strips. And there will be certificates given out. And we are going to announce it very soon, right, Melissa?
Yes. And it's going to be about spring. So
yep, the topic will be spring. And we will announce it very, very soon. Probably it's coming up to the end of March. So whenever you and I can get together and do this, we should announce it. So
yeah, because 1 April we had a poem a day that we had people motivational strips write
I
a
did
poem
that.
a day in order. I did it too, so they could receive a certificate. So I suggested to Barbara, I said, why don't we just have one poem? And then she said, yes, just one poem, because it'd be easy for us to actually, judge the contents of the poem and, the beauty of the poem. But, that keeping track of so many people for a poem a day, that was hard work.
But we did it by post.
Yes.
The post under the day's post. And I also ran around like a crazy woman looking for admins to give prompts.
It was hard getting people to do prompts as well, but we did it.
But we did it, and
it was fun. It was hard work, but it was fun. I mean, I'm not
fun when we
complaining.
saw how happy everybody was about it. A poetry contest makes everyone happy.
Yeah, people, it does. And some people, that's the only reason they're in certain forums is for contests.
Right, they like to win, and
they like certificates.
We will be giving out certificates to everybody who participates, and then we will
That's way motivating.
Yeah, and then we'll be giving out prizes to people who are first, second, and third, and
not prizes, but certificates.
Not prizes, but they will be certificates, but different special certificates, and that's all I can say. So, okay,
and that's one thing that the publisher that told me that I met, that never would a reputable publisher request money up front to publish your book.
Yeah, right. Except for like big ones like that of like KDP, or that's Kindle, so that they're reputable.
Yeah.
I mean, self-publishing is something that people have to do. And then there's hybrid publishers that they will take a little bit of money, but they're going to edit your book and whatever and do whatever. So
I think it's different if they're editing your book also, because then you're paying for a service.
Yeah, like KDP did that, but they didn't find anything that they needed to change because it was republished. And when I got the galley, I made sure, being a teacher and also an editor, I made sure that galley was, pristine. So they didn't have anything to do except add the international pages, which is the cover page. They had to change a few things, but basically my hang up now is the cover. The cover is the worst. Finding a good cover and getting people to understand what you want on your cover is very, very hard. And I don't know if you found that, but we're not going to discuss that now. Okay, we'll start with Arunima, who was the last person to come, so she could be the first to give us a little something before we leave.
Oh, yeah. I actually have lost track of the diary. Okay. If someone could, like, in between, like, give me the last opportunity, I'll find out something from my notes.
Oh, you want to read something? Okay, Melissa.
Well, I was just going to say that this was a very uplifting and motivational topic, and that I like the fact that us three women have come together and that we have supported each other, we have encouraged each other, and that we understand the importance that that we have to be positive towards each other and not negative, and that sometimes maybe you're not involved with somebody personally, but a lot of times your poems and what you write about, other people read. Sometimes they comment, sometimes they do not comment, but it does have an influencing factor, and I think our words should be chosen very carefully in any area or any aspect of our life.
I agree. Excellently spoken, and looking forward to your new poems. And me, all I can say is I really enjoy these poetry initiatives because we get together, we talk about things that we really do not talk about in our daily life. And it's a pleasure meeting new people like Arunima, who's becoming a very dear acquaintance to me, and almost a friend, and Melissa, who I love to pieces, and I just want to say that as a woman, it is uplifting to find women who think so much about the subject, care so much about the subject, and who are willing to give of themselves and their time to talk about it. And I think we found out today that we need to get men involved, because having men involved will help women to move forward, because if women are the engines, men are the drivers, unfortunately. So we need them to move. And so I just have to say thank you. And I'm going to end this now.
Well, I was just going to add, men influence other males.
Right.
And how fathers treat their sons is how the sons are going to treat their spouses or their girlfriends. Right. And men have to be involved, whether directly or indirectly, because they're almost half of the world's population. I think the women
we've exceeded. Yeah.
We've exceeded. And so.
Right. Men have to be part of this awareness that women are to be treated as people. That's it. Just treat us like people.
Just as people. Absolutely.
Yeah. We're people.
But I also believe, I think like we also need to think that, like men also need to understand that treating women as people is a part that saves them remaining human beings themselves, because they are stripping themselves of that, or like, women are the primary socializers, like, primary socialization is received by the mother, like to the son as well. So I think even men are losing a lot, they're stripping themselves of basic human entities, like, those features of being human, if they do not understand that.
Absolutely, Arunima. I'm going to give you the last word. and we're going to say goodbye. Okay.
Yeah. Actually, there was a poem I was looking for. I'm not getting
Oh,
it, but
did you find it?
yeah, unfortunately, I'm not getting it on my mobile also. But I really felt very happy, and coming back here and seeing Melissa ma'am as well again, because it's really rare to find people who think like you, and especially on the subject of love, like we had talked the other day. I really loved it. Very few people have that kind of connect of thinking of love,
Yes.
do keep
I-
inviting me. I
Yes.
really
Oh
love,
no, I'm
I cannot
so
get
happy. I'm so happy.
Yeah.
And the synergy of that broadcast, Melissa, you have to listen to it. It was
I'm-
just so special. And so I'm going to say namaste to you, Arunima,
Thank you,
and
namaste.
kisses from Connecticut.
It's from Kentucky.
And I'm saying goodbye. Goodbye, everybody. And I
Bye
hope
bye.
that you enjoyed this broadcast and will join us next time.
Next
Thank you.
April, we'll expect you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Yes,
Bye-bye.
thank you so much. Bye. Bye. Good day.